Hi, it's Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media. Here we are in Houston in Breakbulk Studios, and I have John Liu from DHL Industrial Projects here with me. And we've just finished a session on, oh my gosh, a whole new area of projects that is so fascinating. And I'm happy to have John here to explain it to us. We're going to talk about chip fab manufacturing and related topics. So tell us, how did that session go, John?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here.
Absolutely.
I think the session went really well. The first thing I looked for was the crowd, and I think we were almost full, which means there's a lot of interest in this area for Breakbulk community. There's just a tremendous amount of fab investment when we talk about semiconductor, and AI is really driving this manufacturing investment. So if we look at the end game is to build AI to what we all want it to be, we need to have data center. And to have data center, we need to have semiconductor chips. So you can see that every single value chain is represented to make sure that AI is continuing to move in the direction. And it's really important for the breakbulk heavy lift community to know, because there's massive amount of freight that needs to be moved from point A to point B all around the world into the US, and also to locations that's overseas. So it's really a relevant topic for breakbulk, and a new sector that I think will be around for many years to come.
Yeah, it's really exciting, I think, to get a new sector.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
And does your job really revolve around this?
I've only been here for 9 months, and
Okay.
my understanding from my management is they've been looking for someone to fill this role for some time. Was a bit hesitant because I wasn't sure what it meant for me, but I just go back and remember that in past experience, there were always these big breakbulk opportunities to bring in large material, and if a provider was to have a person lead that, it would be really interesting, and just the right time, right moment. A lot of investment. There's something around $450 billion of investment that's going to semiconductor, almost equal for data centers. So plenty of opportunities for us to capture.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on that panel, did you talk about, excuse me, nuclear energy source?
We talked a little bit about that. Is, with data centers come a need for a lot of power to drive data centers. It eats up a lot of power, and it's an impact to the community in the region. So there's different opportunities. Could be solar, could be wind farms, could be just using the grid. And in SMR, which is small modular reactors,
Yes.
that's becoming more relevant because it can give you a lot of power. But we're not talking like the big nuclear reactors like 3 Mile Island. We're talking about smaller reactors that are maybe 300 megawatts. That can be set up a lot quicker than a major project. But it also comes with risks, right? And people are still concerned. But I think with the right understanding, the right investment, I think that could be a great opportunity for us. You don't have to take the electricity from the grid and then have the community suffer. You can have an independent power supply to supply the data centers.
Right. Now, one of the interesting things about the session is that this really came from a story that we put together for Breakbulk Magazine for this America's issue, which you and your panelist, Kristen Homsey from Bechtel, both were interviewed for. And one of the things that came up was that these fabs demand a different type of logistics. Can you explain what that means?
Um, we have done several projects globally and also in the US for a major logo. So we have some data of how much cargo that is required to build a fab. And some numbers were just thrown out there, and it doesn't mean that it's applicable for every fab, but we're talking somewhere between 300 to 500,000 square feet of warehousing that you're going to need for laydown, for inventory, to build construction. And then it's going to probably bring in somewhere between 500 to 700,000 tons in freight. 10 to 12,000 truckloads and 20 to 30 breakbulk charters and 300 to 500 air charters. So it's a tremendous amount of freight that needs to be moved. And we're not just talking, bits and pieces here and there, but we're talking chillers, we're talking power infrastructure, we're talking a lot of these large applications that really need the breakbulk and heavy lift environment community to support it. So that's just for one fab. And there's somewhere around 90 opportunities that it's announced for the US. Some are small, some are medium, some are large, but enough large ones where it's going to really make a decent dent in the opportunities for everybody. So I think it's not only do we have to spend time with the customers, but also within our community to make sure that we have all our partners, our vendors, suppliers ready to be called upon on. And also when you spoke with Kristen and Bechtel, we partner on a lot of projects and we love to do more for them. And they get to a point where they need us, we're ready to support them.
You wouldn't turn them down.
Absolutely not.
Now I understand that the demands, the time schedules can often be accelerated
Sure.
than what you might normally expect on a project. Have you experienced that yet? If so, okay. And if not, how would you go about preparing for, how do you cut any more time off, the project timeline?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Really, probably the most important question to ask because even before a project is announced, I would say 1 to 2 years before, we are already talking to the EPCs. We are talking to the fab owners about it because we really need to have early engagements. Early engagement in doing a site survey, doing a route survey, just to understand who are the players in this opportunity and what is the expectation. So a lot of these fab constructions are in remote locations, far away from the port, far away from major airport hubs. If we just take Phoenix as an example, or New Albany, where there's the new Intel fab, it's really inland, in the middle of the U.S. So we have to think about what's the most efficient, cost-effective way to get large products there without really going over the top. Because not everything can be air freighted. If we can use a barge, we use a barge. So a lot of planning, there's a lot of permitting for sure to make sure that a project is moved on time. And also, if you're moving these large products into the construction site, it needs to be sequential. So it can't just be everything's coming and I try to move. We're talking 20, 30, 40 times. I can't just move it like my furniture, around the living room. So early engagement, good planning, having a great partnership that trusts you, a lot of visibility is really the key to success.
All right. Well, great. It's a good note to end on. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much for having me.
And wish you the, most success in
Thank
this
you.
new sector. I love it.
Thank you very much.
All right.